summer, SESP junior Ziya Sylvester spent nearly a month living out of their car in multiple hotels and an Airbnb. Their experience mirrors that of nearly 1/5 of transgender or gender nonconforming people who faced housing insecurity at some point in their lives, according to the National Center for Transgender Equality. As students head back to school, the NU community is brainstorming ways to step up campus support systems.
I was just tired of hiding of like who I was, and I felt like it was time for me to just come out.
Although Sylvester and their mother, Tisha Williams, dispute whether Sylvester's coming out led to moving out,
I just did not feel safe. I did not feel welcome. I did not feel supported. So that's just the connection that I made in my head. She didn't verbally say anything negative about my transgender identity.
Sylvester, who uses they them pronouns, says they ultimately left home and struggled to find permanent housing through most of July, at one point living in this Airbnb. And Sylvester's experience isn't an anomaly, especially for LGBTQ plus youth of color. According to a study by the Urban Institute, LGBTQ youth make up 20 to 40% of the homeless youth population in the U.S. For young LGBTQ people of color, the chances of experiencing homelessness are even greater, according to the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness.
I just didn't really know where to go.
Though Sylvester now has secure housing in Florida and Evanston, they say further conflict with their mother over their gender identity is always a possibility.
I honestly wouldn't feel comfortable talking about sexuality or like my gender identity with her, just because like she still misgenders me.
According to a New York Times article, LGBTQ youth are also more likely to struggle with mental health, poverty, and suicidal thoughts.
So whatever you need to do to get to a place where you can tell your kid, I love you no matter what, that's what you need to get to.
Reverend Eileen Wiviott, who works with LGBTQIA plus individuals seeking support and community at the Unitarian Church of Evanston, knows what it's like to be a parent of LGBTQ plus youth as the mother of 2 trans children. And when family support systems are not present, academic institutions can be a safe haven.
If a student doesn't show up, I need to be proactive in checking up on them.
According to a series of reports by GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, more than half of the LGBTQ students of color surveyed felt unsafe at school because of their sexual orientation or gender identity.
It's really important to understand who students are in their whole life, and not to only see them as one thing or another.
Sylvester didn't find Northwestern's on-campus psychological services helpful. They also didn't know where to find the right on-campus resources. Other students are also calling for action. Sophomore Dory Taylor Carter works with Northwestern's Rainbow Alliance.
Different kind of social gatherings, different resources along the lines of community building and making sure that students feel that they have a network within Northwestern.
Sylvester took to social media with their story and received some financial support from the NU community.
It shouldn't be something that we only start paying attention to once it happens to one of our own.
Students and professors are brainstorming tangible ways the university can step up as classes start amid a pandemic.
A student who knows to seek out your services might be in a very different place than the queer trans student who doesn't even think they're welcome, or the one who's afraid of being able to afford their tuition.
Thrasher says the university can do better by offering trans-specific physical and mental health care. In an email, Northwestern's Associate Vice President for Equity, TiShaunda McPherson, says the Office of Equity offers help locating safe housing, guidance on updating directory information, identifying all gender bathrooms, and more.
There just needs to be a lot more understanding and better communication with the current admin and Black and brown and other minority students.
Sylvester is now living in an off-campus apartment with friends. They've been receiving financial support through their GoFundMe, which has raised over $7,000.
I do have secure housing now, and I kind of have reconciled with my family, and the rest of the money would be going towards my surgeries and just continuing the healing process for me.
Glisson recommends that schools support student clubs related to sexual orientation, gender, race, and ethnicity. They also say schools should establish policies and guidelines for how faculty and staff should respond to racism and homophobia. Jenny Ha, Northwestern News Network.